As one of the state's most prolific and prominent Indiana historians, Jim Madison has literally written the book, or books, on Indiana's history. What has become a career of researching, writing, and speaking began with a love of reading while growing up in a small town near Gettysburg, Pennsylvania.
I was blessed to like to read books as a kid, and I read most of the history books in the public library. I played sports too. I wasn't bad, I wasn't great, but I was good enough. But it was books that I liked to read, and that's a blessing that continues to the present.
Jim first came to Indiana in the mid-1960s with his then-girlfriend, Jean, who would later become his wife. Both attended IU Bloomington.
Like the old comedian Herb Schreiner, I moved to Indiana as soon as I heard about it. It was so long ago. I arrived with my manual portable typewriter, and we came by train. And we got off the train at Union Station in Indianapolis.
The two left for Boston after getting their degrees, but it wasn't long before Bloomington came calling.
I got an offer from IU to join the faculty, and I joined the faculty in 1973, and have been on the faculty ever since.
Jim was asked to teach Indiana history, a subject he says he knew little about.
I didn't really know very much, and I've told those students who are now rather elderly when I see them, if they want to come back and do it again, I'd be delighted, because I've gotten better and I've learned more.
He's also become the leading expert in Indiana history.
I would say Jim is the dean of the Hoosier historians, in that he's not only done such significant research and writing about the state, but he's also been so terrific about supporting organizations that provide program vehicles for Indiana history. And that's really, I think, key in terms of connecting what he's been doing with the public.
Jim has published a number of books, essays, and lectures on Indiana history, including Hoosiers and the American Story, a new textbook for Indiana students published by the Indiana Historical Society.
It's really inspiring students. And I think it's reminding all of us that Indiana history needs to be part of every Indiana student's education in a much more robust way.
WFYI adapted another of Jim's books, Hoosiers, A New History of Indiana, into a 4-part documentary for Indiana Public Television. The Indiana Repertory Theater transformed yet another book, A Lynching in the Heartland, into a stage production depicting the story of Indiana's last lynchings, which took place in Marion.
I had no idea how they would turn this story into a play. I thought it was a brilliant piece of art, really, on the stage.
I mean, Jim doesn't sugarcoat Indiana history. As passionate and as committed as he is to telling the story, he's also very committed to telling it in a way that really brings out its truth. And I think that approach is part of what I appreciate and part of what I treasure in everything that he does.
In addition to writing and researching, Jim is affecting change within the state, making sure Hoosiers stay connected as Indiana celebrates its 200th anniversary.
I am confident that the state bicentennial effort would not be what it is today without Jim Madison. But Jim Madison has been there behind the scenes for years, encouraging, suggesting, making sure that folks know what an important point in time this is. And he gave us that encouragement too.
He gives generously of his talents. He serves on boards. He writes in the popular press. So he's not lost in the ivory tower. He is very much present as our historian. If we had a historian laureate, Jim would be our historian laureate, like a poet laureate, you might say.
One of the things Indiana Humanities has contemplated over the years is where do you fit on the Hoosierometer scale? And what we found out after thinking through what kinds of things would give you points on the scale, that Jim Madison might be the top vote getter, and he may have exceeded the Hoosierometer, even though he's not a native-born Hoosier.
Fortunately for Hoosiers, Jim shows no signs of slowing.
One of the things about old historians is we tend not to hang it up. We for some reason, we're strange people, I think, historians, but we don't stop doing history.
Through his 4 decades of work, more details of Indiana's past will be accessible to future generations.
One never knows, of course, but I always like to think that the books I've written are written on paper that will last at least 200 years and are well cared for long after that. And many of them are now digitized, so what I've written might last for centuries. I like that idea.
Please welcome to the stage Jim Madison.